I think a lot of different questions that have come to me recently, specifically, actually, is one, reminding all our listeners that CAI and HEI, while they both have three letters, are two different things. Now, what you might be hearing is that some plans will be hit by the double whammy, which is that they do not qualify for HEI and they also do not benefit anything with CAI. So Nate, do you mind like giving the listeners just really quick, especially for people that are new to this world, the difference between those two things?
Oh God. Okay. Okay. So
I put it on the spot. Sorry, folks.
Okay. The CAI, the Categorical Adjustment Index, was meant to be a temporary solution.
Mm-hmm.
Angelo, the policy analyst on our team, likes to remind us of that a lot. It was really in response to a lot of the comments that those of us who were at the health plans working with a lot of DSNP members were making at the time, which is,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we're providing care to a really high density of very, very sick members who have a lot of social needs. And that makes it much harder for us to reach the same level of performance. So CMS, could you take that into account, right? Much like you're already doing when you case mix a CAPS measure. I guess we can leave that over there. It's not a perfect system either. And so CMS response to that was to do many analyses, I think with RAND, I can't remember actually who did it at this point, and come up with a model where they look only industry-wide at the difference within a contract with members who are LISDE versus the members who are not. And without getting into too much detail, what they do is they come up with a system where they will adjust your performance up or down. This is not upside only. Plans that are sort of in the bottom in terms of their percentages of these members with these social risk factors get adjusted downward. And if you're on the bubble, I've seen it many times that a plan doesn't quite get to the level of rounding up to a 4 because of the tenths or hundredths of a point that they get deducted due to the Categorical Adjustment Index. So that's been around for a while. And now the Health Equity Index comes into play. The Health Equity Index is much more of a reward factor, right? It is, in and of itself, it is upside only, although we can talk about the removal of the reward factor as it exists today not being upside only because it's not a replaceable thing with the HEI. But that really takes into account how are you performing in your members with these social risk factors relative to your peers who are also delivering care to those members with social risk factors. And that's how you kind of come up with where you're rewarded.
As long as you have the right percentage of people in your population. I mean, that's one of the struggles, I think. There is a, STARS leader that all of us know really well, and I highly respected, who, in their plan, they have, dozens of thousands of SRF population, but just under that percentage. So they're not going to qualify this. They've been getting reward factor, but and they've got very high scores, frankly, on the SRF population, but they're going to get 0. And so, I'm not, I don't know really what I'm not saying here right now, but I guess what I am saying, we've seen a change. We've seen a change here in level of litigiousness, right? And I think that there are some cases that can be made, or at least challenge, what are we trying to achieve? Because this group is actually positively impacting a whole lot more people in the SRF population than some of the other ones that are getting a bonus for it. So
yeah, I mean, you think about these percentages that just came out in the last simulation. It's just under 22, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 21 point something.
Yeah.
That means that a plan that's at 20, so 1 in 5 of their members has a social risk factor, is eligible for nothing, regardless of if they're knocking it out of the park, like this mutual client that Mick is talking about that we both work with.
Yeah, and if that plan has 100,000 members, so 20,000 of them are this other plan has 5,000 members, therefore 1,000. To me, there is something broken there in terms of what are we trying to achieve here.